Ron, I've always had a deep fascination with movie posters, and I wasn't aware the battles that are sometimes waged over how a poster should look. What kind of battles have you seen waged over posters for your movies?
Well, the worst story ever was the Blaze story, because we had some great posters with Paul Newman on it, and the stripper, and Lolita Davidovich, and some great images that evoked the South. And they got nervous at the last minute and put a leg, and it was the worst poster for a movie I'm proud of I've ever seen. You know, the director doesn't have the right to approve the poster, but he has the right to yell and scream and make himself obnoxious, which is one of the tools in his bag.
I got a question before we talk about the movie, about movie titles. Have you ever faced battles over what the title of one of your movies should be called?
Yeah, yeah, and it's hard to get a good title. I mean, you struggle over that.
Well, give me some examples. Which ones they fight you over?
Well, I mean, let me give you an example where I was wrong. Bull Durham turned out to be a great title, but when I was writing the script, I just put Bull Durham on it, working title, because I didn't know what to call it, even though it was the Durham Bulls and Bull Durham was a tobacco company. And I thought, this is a terrible name for a movie. Nobody knows what it means. And it just kind of stayed and hung around, and pretty soon, and now you can't imagine any other title for that movie. I think on Tin Cup, I wanted it to be called Let the Big Dog Eat, which I thought was a little more blue collar, and Tin Cup was written on the script, and it stayed. The best title I ever had was White Men Can't Jump, which I started with a title and then I wrote the script. So I think on Cobb, a movie I'm very fond of that didn't really get a chance in the world, I should have called it The Last Days of Ty Cobb, which was the article it was based on, because then audiences and critics would have known this is not about Ty Cobb in his prime, it's about the last days of Ty Cobb. Because a lot of people, when they came out, said, I thought this was going to be about Ty Cobb as a baseball player rather than Ty Cobb at the end of his life. So I think I got that one wrong. Play It to the Bone, I'm not sure what it means, but I kind of know what it means, and I like the title.
Let's turn to test screenings. It's kind of fascinating to how that all works with the cards and all that. What are some of the more bizarre things that you have seen come out of a test screening for a film?
Well, what the cards tell you is that the educational system in America has failed. Is basically what it says. Because nobody can write a sentence, can spell, can construct any thought, or articulate any idea. I don't read the cards. My staff reads them. I find them appalling and upsetting. What I do at the test screenings is just sit there and feel how the movie's playing, and I know when it's dragging, and I know when it can bear some more. I would take cards out of the process. In fact, it's in my new contract to do that in the future, because I think they're misunderstood. My movies don't score through the roof. They don't score bad. They all score the same. Bull Durham scored the same as White Men Can't Jump, as Tin Cup, as Blaze. They all score the same. Yeah. It's just a matter of marketing them in a way that they find their audience. I can tell you one thing, that the first cut of White Men Can't Jump, nobody can understand Rosie Perez. and so we kept trimming her dialogue carefully so that even though she has that eccentric vocal pattern, she was completely comprehensible later. So there was an opportunity to listen. I wouldn't change the ending or anything, but I better listen to the audience can't understand the girl.
Years ago when I was in high school, I was an extra in the movie Foul Play, and so after a few hours, the novelty wore off pretty fast.
We know exactly your age. You realize that.
But the extras in this movie, in relation to the actors, did you find the actors were feeling pressure, knowing they had these hundreds of extras watching them when they were shooting, hitting the balls?
There's no question about it. I think it's very difficult what we asked Kevin and Don to do, and that is hit golf shots in front of thousands of extras lining the fairways, lining the greens, on camera, with PGA advisors standing there critiquing their every flying left elbow. So I don't think it was easy what their task was. I think they came through fabulously.
Now, in this movie, were there ever times that you felt sorry for the actors? I mean, the three of them being cooped up in a car for long stretches of time. How did that...
Me feel sorry for actors? Do you know how great it is to have actors stuck in a car where they can't wander off? It's like, it's like a big stroller. You get them in there, you tow them around the desert, they can't go anywhere, they chat, they're all wired in with mics, they're perfect. It's like having a playpen for them. I like actors a lot, and I think it shows in the work they do. There were a few times in the fight that Antonio and Woody were really, really hurting. a lot of injuries, and I thought, I worried that I'd pushed him over the edge, honestly.
Well, the whole thing, you've done a lot of movies where athletics were involved. Have you ever been concerned in a movie during the casting process whether the actors could pull off looking like a professional athlete?
You're always concerned that you can pull it off because I have now sort of a high standard in terms of the sports verisimilitude, and I know everybody's going to be watching. I'm worried every time I go in, but I've never cast a movie that I didn't feel there was a good chance of pulling it off. Boxing was the trickiest.